Friends, we gather together this afternoon to celebrate the life and to honor the memory of Alan Sims. Alan's family so very much appreciates your presence here with us, which offers them a great deal of comfort and support. Adonai ma'adam v'teda ehu ben enosh v'chashvehu. O Lord, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, our days are like a passing shadow. We come and we go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, in the evening it fades and it withers. You cause us to turn to dust, saying, return, you mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away, our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright, they shall have peace. The author of the Bible's first of 150 Psalms, number one for a good reason, because it tries to express the nature of happiness. The psalmist expresses not only the life well lived, but the fruits of a life well lived in language that is both poignant and succinct. Happy is the one who has not followed the counsel of the wicked, nor taken the path of sinners, nor joined the company of the insolent. Rather, the teaching of God is their delight, and they study that teaching day and night. They are like a tree planted beside streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, whose foliage never fades and whose fruit always flourishes. Let us join together now in the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Esa'enai el heharim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai osei shamayim va'aretz. I lift mine eyes unto the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. Yea, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and your coming, now and forever. The author of the book of Ecclesiastes tells us in a famous passage that there are patterns and rhythms to life, some of them predictable and some of them not predictable. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Alan Sims died this past Saturday evening at the age of 88. He lived a long life, a life filled with family and with purposeful work. We will miss him. Alan was born and raised in Cleveland and attended the Shaker Heights schools, graduating from Shaker Heights High School in 1951. From there, he matriculated at Western Reserve University, from which he received both his bachelor's and his law degrees. At this point, he joined the Ulmer Byrne law firm, where he worked his entire work life. Along the way, he served his country in the National Guard and in the U.S. Army Reserves. At Ulmer Byrne, Alan distinguished himself as a litigator, and in addition, he contributed significantly to the welfare of the law firm's employees by creating Ulmer Byrne's 401k retirement fund program. Alan loved his work as an attorney. He was very good at it, and never throughout his long career did he ever grow tired of it. And so when the normal time to retire came along, Alan resisted. He pushed aside a retirement party, though he finally accepted it and the accompanying accolades. Nevertheless, Alan continued and insisted on continuing the practice of law at the firm for several more years. And then at the age of 80, he finally did step down. Though even then, he assiduously maintained his law license by attending regular courses to keep himself in good standing. Indeed, two things remained intertwined in Alan's heart and mind: his work as a lawyer and his sense of himself. And so we are hardly surprised to learn that Alan Sims was a man of firm convictions. Saving for the future was one of his fundamental principles, and he directed his three children to embrace the value of putting off unnecessary present indulgences for the sake of a secure future. And this same principle entailed his willingness to drive the same car year after year until he could drive it no longer. Now, Alan was singularly devoted to his family, providing everything that they needed, and he was always ready to help them at the drop of a hat. When his children or his grandchildren needed him, he was there, ready to assist. Nevertheless, Alan was able to balance his willingness to help with another conviction of his, that he needed to prepare his children and grandchildren to make their own way in life. In addition, Alan Sims was a man of habit and a man of discipline. Whenever he needed to make a significant purchase, an automobile, an appliance, for example, he would devote significant time to research the pros and cons of various options. And of course, he taught his children to do the same thing. He was also a devoted daily reader of newspapers in order to be able to keep up on current events. And naturally, he would cut out articles and send them to his children. Moreover, Alan did his own taxes year after year until the very end of his life, and he did so with his customary meticulousness. And Alan had his own culinary habits. Oatmeal with lots of brown sugar every morning. SpaghettiOs was another favorite. And his children told me yesterday when I met with them that their father loved Swedish fish, whatever that might be, and gummy bears, and plenty of the fabled Good and Plenty. Needless to say, Alan had a sweet tooth, and I surmise that he easily indulged himself in this passion of his. And another of his passions was tennis. He played on the Shaker High School team, played with skill in the annual Oakwood Club's tennis tournaments, and watched as much tennis on TV as he could. And his children told me another thing, that Alan loved nothing more than being right. He would correct his children's grammatical errors as he would those of others. And when others, his children, for example, had to acknowledge that their father was right yet again, Alan would break out into what his family called the grin of knowing. And though it was undoubtedly hard for him to accept, he too was wrong every once in a while. And then his children loved nothing more than to correct him. Alan Sims is survived by his children, Leslie, Brian, and Kathy, by his sons-in-law Joe and Bob, and by Brian's fiancée Kim, by his grandchildren Dana and Garrett, Zach and Hannah, Jake, Rachel, and Kayla, and by his great-grandchildren Amelia and Asher. He was predeceased by his wife of 61 years, Judy, by his brother Philip, by his sister Roma, and by his sister-in-law Barbara. Alan Sims lived a long and a full, richly lived life. He raised a wonderful family, passed on to them values that mattered to him, and contributed to his community. Those who loved and admired him will never forget him. Zichrono Livracha, the memory of Alan Sims, will always be our blessing. Amen. I now want to invite forward Alan's three children, Leslie, Brian, and Kathy, who will reflect on the life, the qualities, the accomplishments of their father.
Hi, I'm Leslie. It's hard to believe that my dad is here and on time. My dad instilled in me the values of honesty, integrity, and hard work. He led by examples. He was so excited when my daughter decided to go to law school and become an attorney. And I'm so happy that he got to meet his great-granddaughter Amelia and learn of the birth of Asher. That was last week. My dad loved visiting with my son Zach and was so happy that he married someone like Hannah. I will miss our daily calls, but I'm glad he's at peace with Mom.
Dad loved his life. He and my mom had traveled all over the world. They had a very busy social calendar, attending the theater, symphony, and orchestra. They were longtime members of Oakwood Country Club. We used to love going there for their large brunches. He loved the game of tennis, and we used to watch lots of matches on TV together over the years. While going through some of his things recently, I came across a 60th reunion booklet for Case Western Law School, and everyone had written something about their lives, and he had written, "There was never a day that I did not love going to work, and I never stopped learning." He truly loved his chosen career and loved Almer. If only we could all be so lucky. In his later years, he enjoyed periodic lunches with friends, retired partners, and Oakwood friends. He loved dinners and holidays with his family. He really liked Bob's latkes at Hanukkah, and Grandma's cherry cakes, which I made for him, were some of his favorites. He loved hearing from all of the grandchildren what was happening in their lives. During COVID, my parents spent their days watching lots of TV, movies, and talking. I'm so happy they had that time together. This past year was difficult for him without having my mom by his side, but I am grateful for all the time I was able to spend with him. And just last Friday, Rachel and I visited him, and as we were leaving, he said, "I will miss you. Dad, I will miss you too."
Dad and I had a special relationship. I was his son, and you could see it in his eyes. I'll miss our talks, his knowledge, and advice about life. He was a great dad, gave us all a great life. What will get me through this is when Kim and I saw him last week. He said he's been having visions or dreams of seeing my mother in his room. Knowing this, now knowing that they're together, will get me through. I miss and love the both of you.
O God of life, amid the ceaseless tides of change which sweep away the generations, your love remains to comfort us and to give us hope. Around us are life and death, decay and renewal, the flowing rhythm that all things obey. Our life is a dance to a song that we cannot hear. Its melody courses through us for a little while, then it seems to cease. Whence the melody and whither does it go? In darkness as in light, we turn to you, the source of life and the answer to all of life's mysteries. As you are able, I invite you please now to rise for the El Mole Rachamim. El Mole Rachamim, Shochein Bam Romim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kadoshim et Tahorim Kazohar Harakim Azhirim et Nishmat Yakirenu Shahalach La'olamo. Bala Rachamim Yastireo B'Seter Ganafav La'olamim V'Yitzror Bitzror HaChayim et Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato V'Yanuach B'Shalom Al Mishkavo V'Nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Alan Sims, our loved one who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace. And let us say together, Amen. You may be seated. I want to announce that the family of Alan Sims will receive friends at the residence at 14 Stratford Court today, following our interment until 5 o'clock later this afternoon, and then again tonight from 7 to 9. As well, they will receive friends tomorrow, Friday, from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. Our service will continue now at graveside at the Mayfield Cemetery. Once again, we're appreciative and touched by your presence here with us this afternoon.
cemetery. We're going to ask you to Margot and your family to the cemetery and step directly to your cars. Start your cars and turn on your headlights manually. This time you can exit to the rear or the front of the chapel, please.
Hello, how are you? I got a couple of Did you say you were on a birthday? Did you say you were out of town?
Tim was on a mask. I didn't realize they were still required, so. I bolted in. Everything had a mask on. I'm like, uh-oh.